Hello YouTube, this is pecktec, and today I'm unboxing the 6-gallon Fluval Edge. I believe this is actually the first generation of the Fluval Edge. It still comes with the halogen bulbs, but I'm going to unbox it and we're going to take a look and see what's in there. Alright, so here we go. Of course, first thing is the filter media, and if it's like the other one, it should have a sponge, charcoal, and the ceramic biological media. And we have instructions. And a few chemicals to kind of get you started. What's in here? Tap water and conditioner and biological aquarium supplement. Alright, so first part is the light fixture. And this is the burnt orange model of the aquarium. And as you can see, the light fixture on this one is quite a bit different than the 12-gallon Edge. It's got two bulb placement parts there. The top part looks pretty much the same. Set that aside. And here's the lid. Looks like it's the exact same size as the 12-gallon. Give me that. Yeah, as you can see, these are the exact same size. Alright. Take a look at these bulbs. Alright. These are the halogen bulbs that they come with. Looks like they're sealed up in the front so that they don't get moisture inside. It's kind of interesting. And what else? Cardboard. This, I imagine, is the filter. Has some instructions. And what looks to be the exact same filter that comes in the 12-gallon version. So, very familiar filter. Finally, the aquarium itself. And it looks like it's just a smaller version of the 12-gallon. Very much the same design. Nice, sturdy little aquarium. And the last part is the base, of course. And the base. So this will just sit like so, maybe on a harder surface. And that is, I believe, the entire contents of the box. Now we're going to go set it up. Okay, and now we're going to put it together. So I guess the thing to start with would be the base. You want to have a nice steady table to get it started with. And I just slide where I think the opening should be. This part has little plastic snaps, and it will snap right into the bottom here. There's a cord that runs through the bottom. And you want to make sure when you snap it in that this cord is going through here. In fact, I'm going to unwind it. There we go. Make sure it goes where it's supposed to. It just fits right into place. It doesn't actually snap. You can see it fit there. Then you can line the tank up to match the light. And you know where your middle is. The next step is the filter. So I'm going to bring the filter around. You widen that angle up a little bit. That's good. This filter's cord is also kind of hidden by this back panel. We're going to slide it in here. And it will fit like so. If you pull this back up a little bit, you can work the cord through the back. Get all the cables going the way they're supposed to go. Alright. Now, move this off to the side. Filter has an intake, a spot for your media. Okay, so the way this is supposed to go is the sponge goes in first. This, once I pull it out, will go in there, and your ceramic biological media will go into the top portion. So we're going to set this aside for a moment. The charcoal, usually with a new tank, you rinse it out. I don't normally rinse these out, I just let it go, but it can be handy to kind of rinse this out, keep some of the dirt from building up inside, but it's never horrible, so we're gonna just let that go. And the ceramic that came with it is going into the top of another tank, and I'm gonna pull some that I've already got going and put it into here. That way the cycle will pretty much be well underway before we get started. Okay, so we put the back panel on, sort of saw that how it lines up, and it's time to assemble the filter. It comes with this little black piece here, which is a spacer to kind of help keep the filter where it needs to be. And see, it's already got one tab. It's kind of hard to see right there, but I'm going to do that. And this simply fits into the back. Then the intake, you see it goes like this and simply slides into the top. The little piece that's sticking up goes in the back to control your flow. And then this will slide right onto the front. It's very snug right there. And now, you line the aquarium up with the back. Fit it on there. Alright, this will go right into the top. Like so. I'll put the biological in there after we get going. And then this fits on the top. And now it's pretty much ready to aquascape. Oh, we've got bulbs to add also. Those simply plug into the 2 pins. You can also replace these halogen bulbs with LED, which will give it a little bit different color, maybe last a little bit longer. But I imagine they simply take the 2 pins and they fit right into the pinholes. I believe the LEDs fit the same way. And then I'll slide over the top like that. And there it is, ready to go. As you begin aquascaping one of these, the big limitation, as usual, is this opening. So, maybe you find a good piece of driftwood. You want to make sure that you can get it in the opening. And this looks like it's going to fit just fine. So, knowing that, we'll go ahead and start laying down some substrate. Okay, one of my favorite substrates, especially for a new tank, is Complete. And it's got biological material in here. This is a fairly large bag. I'm not sure I'll use all of it or not. But I'm going to start off with this. It comes in this liquid, and you want to add the liquid along with the gravel. This is one of the few gravel mixes that you'll find that you don't have to rinse before you install it. I'm going to start off with about half of it. That's quite good. Alright, so usually I start off with a pile and then I start shifting it around. Kind of see where we're at. You can see there's quite a bit of liquid in here. Straight from the bag. I just make sure it's kind of even all the way around. About the depth I want. I'm going to add a little bit more, I think. I'm going to aquascape this tank without a lot of plants that are only rooting plants. I'll probably use a lot of Anubis, Java Fern, and that sort of thing. So it doesn't need a super thick layer of substrate. Aquascaping inside of this small hole is a little bit of a challenge. Complete also has lots of nutrients in it to help your plants, so if your aquascape did happen to take it up past where this intake valve would be, you can slice this intake valve in half and actually just make it shorter. A lot of aquarium filters work that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of make it move towards a pile in the middle, and we'll test out this piece of driftwood. Let's see which position we want it to be in. I normally position this so that it hides this intake valve as much as possible. But I'm also going to put a heater in the back, so I might move it forward just a little bit. I'm going to attach plants to this piece of driftwood because the lights will be right above it. And the other thing with this is this, especially on the smaller one, the spread of the lights doesn't really go all the way to the corners. So when you plant, you want to plant just kind of towards the middle, especially with a Fluval Edge. You just kind of make a little pile of plants in the middle and have your free swimming space around the edges. Alright, this tank was actually purchased by my coworker Spencer, who wants to have it in his cubicle at work, and this is a great size tank for that. He purchased a Fluval brand heater made just for the Edge, and we're going to install that too, so we can kind of plan our aquascaping around it. The cord for the heater will go right around the edge and then down into the back panel here, just like the filter did. So you can just run this cord just like you did the filter. Just going to shove it in there for now. And I like to stick the heater right underneath the flow of water. And that way, as the water flows down over the heater, it'll move the heater around the way it's supposed to. Right, now is the fun part where we go through my tanks and we're going to shop for a few plants to spruce up Spencer's aquarium. So I'm going to start in this tank, which is way overgrown. I've clipped a lot of these plants. The nice thing about an Anubis is you can clip the stem at any point along the way, and usually they float unless their roots have already gotten to the bottom. So I'm going to clip it right here. Don't be afraid to clip off a leaf or two if you need to get what you need. And once you clip it out, kind of gently pull it. I like to get down and grab the root and see if I can get it out of the dirt without breaking too many of them. And you just pull it straight out. Up here. There's a nice big plant to start the aquarium with. As you can see, it's got all the roots already established and everything, so let's go attach it to that log and see how it looks. Okay, I'm going to pull this out. And go ahead and make my paper really dirty. Set it right here. Now if you look, you can sort of plan out how you want it to grow. This is where I clipped the plant. It's going to keep growing this way. It will eventually start going the other way as well. Just be sure to pull off any dead stuff you find. So all of these, sometimes there'll be just the right little grooves, nicks and grooves where you can set it in without attaching it. I like to start off with a piece of elastic rubber band and use black, will show up less. And you can just kind of get it to stay, just to get it to stay put. So let me see how I want this one to go. I try to go with the way, make it real natural for the way it's growing, and get the leaves. I like that. Okay, now with this attached, I'm going to go ahead and try try to get it back in here without destroying it. If we do this. Again, maneuvering in this small hole is a little bit of a challenge. And I am going to go ahead and move this forward, bury some of the established roots. Again, you don't have to bury roots with the Anubis, they will find their way down into the hole on their own, but just to kind of give it a head start, help it out a little bit. And then I'm going to settle this into the rock. Bring some of the rocks up around it so it looks real natural. Alright. And that's a good start. Alright, so the other plant that I'm going to put in there is Java Fern. This has a little bit of dead material in it. It's been picking up kind of debris from around the tank, and I need to trim it back because it's just kind of getting ridiculous. So it's just like the Anubis in that you clip off a little bit of the stem and you just slowly pull it apart. So let me find a good spot here, find a good chunk. This thing is kind of turned into some kind of crazy bush. I'm having to feel in here and see if I can find the stem. I'm trying to cut my fingers off. This will grow into just a huge bush if you let it. And the roots for it, I've seen them go into the substrate, but they don't tend to go into the substrate the way some do. As you can see, this is like pulling off lots of stuff from the piece of wood it's attached to, making a mess. But alright, there's a big chunk right there. There it is. As you see, the root system is more like some kind of crazy moss almost. This is a great low light plant. Does not require much light at all. So I think it will do well around the corners of the Fluval Edge. Just for fun, I'm also going to try this little plant out too. This is a great small little plant that looks good in the foreground. I gotta find where the roots are here. And I'm just gonna pluck it out ever so gently. These grow by runners, so these plants are all attached to each other. So if you start pulling, usually you get about 2, sometimes more. I'm just going to clip it with my fingernail. And there we got a couple more little plants. So I want to start with these small plants. Separate the root part from the... Looks like I got about 3 of them here. And I'm just going to give them a little home in the corner. There's all kinds of schools of thought on how to plant these things. What I do is I start kind of a couple of inches away from where I'm going to go, and I just take my thumb, I slide it like so, and then I bring the dirt back around and cover the roots. I almost always end up having to come back through and add a little bit more gravel just to kind of finish up Make sure they're buried nicely and sticking up the way they're supposed to. Unlike the Anubis, these do get planted directly into the ground. And it's pretty easy to spot the plants that do that. Any plants that grow with runners, like grow like most plants, terrestrial plants do. And you can leave just a little bit of the crown above the surface of the gravel. Okay, so here's the Java Fern. This is, I don't recall the name of it. I'll look it up and post it up like right here after I get finished. But this is a type of Java Fern that has got a really interesting kind of lacy top. Other Java Ferns kind of have a pointy leaf, but this adds a little bit of extra interest, I guess, because the texture of the leaves is really interesting. This goes into the substrate in a very similar way to the Anubis, in that this stem that they all grow off, the rhizome, needs to be above the ground or it'll rot. So what I tend to do is I get it into a nice little bunch, and then I'll take a little river rock and I'm going to rubber band this to the river rock, and that way you just place it wherever you want to in the aquarium. Alright, so now I've kind of got it attached to the rock with this rubber band, and I'm going to use it to kind of fill in this back corner here. Again, this is a low light plant. It doesn't need to be right in the middle of everything. None of them really do, but I thought this one would look especially nice right there. So we're going to use this to fill in the back corner of the aquarium, like so. I really like to, when I do an aquascape, I like it to be a little bit off balance, but this is a little too off balance. If this ends up growing really well, this is going to fill in and that'll be kind of neat, but just to kind of visually help balance it out some, I'm going to add a rock, I think right to the corner, right here. And that just gives it a little bit of weight, and it has a flow that sort of kind of goes downward like that. And there'll be a nice open area for the fish, as well as some hiding areas in the back and around the log. That'll be nice. Alright, the black gravel. I have black gravel in most of my aquariums and I love it, but I also like to mix it up a little bit. And we have just some plain Jane aquaculture natural aquarium gravel. I'm going to use it to sort of keep the substrate really interesting. I'm just going to add some here and there. And you can do all kinds of interesting things with this. You can make a nice little trail, almost like a walkway, a little path around. I'm going to add some of the back too to kind of help these roots get where they need to be. Again, not the easiest thing to do inside of this little hole. A little bit in the front corner also. And that just kind of breaks up the black and gives it a little bit more texture. You know, I think this could use a little bit more in the front, so I've got another one of these rocks. We're going to prop it up. Just kind of slide it into place. Let it be partially buried in the substrate here. And now that we're almost done, I'm going to bring some of this kind of up a little bit. It's really important, I haven't done it for this, or at least not that you can tell, but it's really important to keep your plants wet as you aquascape. Being that this is a really small tank, I knew it wouldn't take very long to fill up, so I decided to kind of just forego that. They're all still fine. Now I'm going to slowly add water. What I like to do is I pour onto one of the hardscapes, in this case the driftwood, and that keeps it from churning up too much junk in the gravel. I did not wash, because I put a very small amount, I did not wash this other gravel either, so it'll be interesting to see how dirty it is. Alright, so we've filled it up with water, and I'm going to flip on the light. As you can see, it's got the halogen lights that are very, very yellow. I'll turn off these other lights so you can see a little bit more of the coverage. Turn out that last switch. There we go. And we'll put the top on it. And there's Spencer's Fluval Edge. Now all we have to do is drive to work and install it on his desk. And so here it is installed on Spencer's desk. Still has the halogen lights in it, which is why it's a little orange. As you can see, it's a very nice addition to the desk. And of course the great thing about the Fluval Edge is you get a lot more view. So if you happen to be standing here, you can check it out from above. There it is, the Fluval Edge.